Ladies and gentlemen, the Jacques Lejour Trio. The Jammin Band. I know some of you have got little pieces of paper on your table that talk about the Jammin Foundation, and you might not quite know what the Jammin Foundation is. Jammin is an acronym, not just a name, though we think of it as Jammin in the sense that musicians think of it, but Jammin is an acronym that stands for Jazz, America's Music, May It Nurture. And the organization was founded about 14 years ago by Dal Scott McDuff. And some of you may remember Dal Scott McDuff from the old Parisian room at La Brea in Washington, where the post office is now. Matter of fact, Ronaldo Ray says that he misses the Parisian room so much that every now and then he goes to the post office and tells jokes in the lobby. Now, how many of you remember the Parisian room? Thank you very much. I know you are all trying to read youngsters, because if I ask the youngsters how many of you do not know the Parisian room, we get a whole different set of hands. Well, thank you for being here tonight. This is a continuation of what Dal used to call PAVIOR Night. And it's about the musicians and those legends in the music industry that have paved the way for others, because it's not just about what they've done, it's about the path that they've created for others. Over the years that we've been doing this, the number of educators and the number of folks who have been mentors to others in the industry and mentors to those in the world of jazz and the world of music has been incredible. My name is Michael Dolphin, and I'm the chairman of the board of the Dunbar, I'm sorry, not the Dunbar anymore. I do something else with the Dunbar, but of the Jammin Foundation, and co-producer and co-host of the Central Avenue Jazz Festival with my friend James Janice over there, and our other third member of the trio, Mr. Jose Rizzo. And I'm going to sit down because I'm going to introduce you to your host for the evening, the MC for the evening, whom you all know. You know, one of the things that I'll tell you about Jeffrey Winston is that he's a warrior in keeping this music alive. He's been a warrior in the art form that's jazz, and he's been a warrior for continuing the legacies in our culture. You know, I'm very fond of saying that if anything disappears in Los Angeles, it's nobody's fault but ours. And there are people in this room here who are part of that warrior army, and I'm sure Jeffrey's going to touch on them later because I'm not going to do that. But, you know, those who are in the warrior army, we thank you for coming out to support these events, because if it weren't for you coming out supporting these events, we'd all be looking for someplace else to go rather than right here in our own community. And by the way, while I'm talking, I'm going to say it. How many of you know that today the Metropolitan Transit Authority approved the stop here in Leimert Park this afternoon? So it's a wonderful thing. Jeffrey Winston, as you all know, here in Leimert Park has done so much work here in Leimert Park. He's done so much work in this community. He's done so much work for senior citizens down at Angeles. But Jeffrey does not only belong to Leimert Park, he belongs to the city of Los Angeles. He's been a friend for a long time, and I'm very proud to call him a friend and one of my favorite people, and another member in the Army that keeps this work going on. Ladies and gentlemen, your host for the evening, about a nice big round of applause for our dear friend, Mr. Jeffrey Winston.
Thank you very much, Michael. Again, let's have a warm round of applause for Michael Dolphin, who's also a soldier for this music, unsung, unheralded, often working behind the scenes. And it's people like him and others like Chet Hanley, I could go on, Lily Pearson, and others that you'll be meeting a little later, who carry the torch. Because this is our culture, as Michael alluded to. We must become and remain the gatekeepers of this culture. If we don't, we allow others to dilute it, dissect it, discredit it. We allow others to legitimize it. And so we have to define it on our own terms. And that's what this is all about. That's what our very gracious producer is about from SmoothAhead. How about a hand for Linda Morgan? She is the dynamic force behind this evening. SmoothAhead Jazz presents Jazz PAVIOR Night. And as Michael said, this is about the living legends. We want them to smell the flowers while they're here. We want to be here as they savor the fragrance. So it's about the here and now. And we have quite an evening lined up for you. Tonight we are paying tribute, as you well know, to Miss Marla Gibbs. To George Bohanon. And to Jammin J. Rich. PAVIOR Night is an ongoing series, and this is the next installment. We have a couple more coming up your way. We'll have information about that momentarily. But we've had a series of panel discussions like over and over. They don't come anymore. We have many world-class musicians in the audience as well, and I'm sure that we'll be hearing from some of them during the jam session that follows. But first, I would like to get right into the program. I'm going to call Marla's daughter up to kind of get things started. What we're going to do is each honoree will have 2 or 3 people that will speak on their behalf, and then we will present the commendations and proclamations. But first, I'd like to bring forth a very dynamic lady. She's a very gifted artist, an entertainer in her own right. Please welcome the daughter of Marla Gibbs, Miss Angela Gibbs.
You want to say hello?
Hello.
Say congratulations, Gigi.
Congratulations, Gigi.
What do you say about a living legend who's only 30? That's what you say. He's a bad hair pajama. Let me keep it brief, but where do I begin? You know, I'm an artist as well and in this business, and I have friends who often talk about their story of having to prove to their parents that what they do is real, and having parents say, why don't you get a real job? And, you know, when are you going to stop that and go get a real life? And I've never had to hear that. I have a mother who is an artist, who understands the arts, who respects it, values it, and has always had my back. She's, yes, and our back, in terms of the community, our back. She's a visionary. She came from modest beginnings and created a life that not only touched millions on television, but touched so many people in her own community. She's someone that I hear about almost every day. I run into people who say, I love your mother. Your mother helped me do this. Your mother started my career. Your mother inspired me. I was about to give up and your mother said it wasn't too late. I mean, it's just amazing, Mom, how many people love you and how many lives you've touched. And I think it's appropriate that we're here where her vision, which was across the street, although it began and we had a theater here for a while, it didn't materialize as her heart had desired. But then again, you know, God has a bigger plan. Look at us all here today. So it's happening anyway. It's happening every day. And it's happening from generation to generation. Before, I know we have other people that want to say some things, but I want to say this. My mother loves music. She loves jazz. She knows that we have to preserve our music, our art, our writing, our films. Jeffrey spoke about, you know, us being gatekeepers. We have to, because as you said, someone else will legitimize it or illegitimize it, and they will direct it or they will disvalue it or they'll tell us what to value. We have to be the authors of our own history. And we have to be the protectors of our history. And we have to leave legends for our generations to follow. And that's what you've done. You've done it for me, you've done it for our family, you've done it for the community. And I love you so much. And it is my honor to be part of this tribute to you.
Thank you. Let's hear it once again for Angela Gibbs. We also want to acknowledge another very strong supporter of this music. She's a gifted artist, and what she has done in the last 6 months is just impeccable. She has given this village new life. She's given us a shot in the arm. She has a great business mind. She's loved the world over, whether you're talking blues, jazz, or whatever. She has a great venue right next door, the Barbara Morrison Performing Arts Center. How about a hand for Barbara Morrison? I don't know if she gets all the interviews. She's got things going 4 and 5 nights a week, plays. She's got a recording studio, working very closely with her production assistant, David Cousins. David does a great job here as well. We're all part of this team that's trying to make things happen and trying to keep this thing going. Okay, getting back to Marla, I'd like to bring forth her grandson, Emil Gibbs. He's going to share some thoughts and anecdotes. How you doing?
Greetings, everyone. Thanks for showing up. I'm going to keep mine brief as well. I'm just honored that my grandmother has been recognized while she's alive. You know, whenever I say, good to see you, she says, nice to be seen and not viewed. Even though that's really not that funny to me. It is nice to give someone the credit while they can appreciate it. And she has set the tone for myself, our family, and our entire community to be a legend and to leave a legacy. You know, she made millions of dollars, but as you know, you can't take that with you when you pass. And you can't keep it when you pass. So what you have left is the legacy. And I think we've all been charged with the fight to keep the legacy alive and support the arts. Thank you.
It is so true about you can't take it with you. Have you ever seen a hearse pulling a U-Haul? All right, at this time, we'd like to have a musical tribute to Marla by Marva Smith. Marva Smith, please come forward. I want to also acknowledge Memory Lane. Larry Hearn owned it, and then later Marla acquired it. Memory Lane was a major venue at 2323, what was then West Santa Barbara. And all of the major acts, all of the major artists appeared at Memory Lane. That was a mainstay. So we want to acknowledge Marla for the fine supper club that she was the proprietor of. Marla, would you please come up?
Greetings, everybody. Can I just briefly share a story? And Angela is a good friend of mine, and many people have claimed the discovery of me in my music, but I gotta tell you, it was Marla Gibbs who gave me my first club gig ever. And back when I wasn't serious about it, she told me that I should get serious about it. And so, in 2006, in a project produced by H.P. Barnum in Detroit, Miss Gibbs recorded this song, and so in my own little small way, I'm gonna attempt to do it for you today. I love me some Marla Gibbs. I got the videotape already though. I was young. As long as you breathe, you better believe It's never too late for life. Drop all that fear, 'cause as long as you're here, it's never too late for life. Scheme your schemes and dream your dreams. Living your life is the way. You cannot borrow from tomorrow. You'll make it one day. So don't give me the blues, 'cause I got good news. It's never too late for life. Start being bold and stick to your goal. It's never too late for life. Oh, just keep the faith and trust your heart. Use your head now, that's being smart. It's never, no, it's never too late for life. Oh, it's never too late for life.
Marla Smith. Give her some love. All right. As I said, we have a lot of talent in the house, both here on the stage and in the audience. At this particular time, we'd like to bring forth our very first honoree. We've been speaking about her and lauding her and giving her praise, and rightfully so. Once again, please welcome to the stage Miss Marla Gibbs, the lady in red.
Thank all of you for coming. George and I both thank all of you for coming. We really appreciate you. I'm so happy to hear that you appreciate us. What were you talking about, Angela? What you talking about? Thank you, darling. You and Emil both. I love you so much. Love you. Thank you for all the wonderful things you said. And Emil, you not only cannot keep the money when you're gone, you can't keep it while you're here. I'm a witness. You can, but not do all the things that you really want to do. I do miss Marla's memory lane, and I do miss the vision. So I have to get another vision and some more money and do some more things.
That's right.
It's so nice to be honored this way. I want to thank Miss Linda for calling me and going through all the gyrations with the seats and everything. I really appreciate your accommodations. All of us do. Hi. Congratulations to you too. Well, I don't know what else to say. What am I going to say? It's never too late for life. That's no stage joke. As long as you're here, as long as you breathe, it's never too late. Thank all of you so much.
Thank you, Marla. Please stay up front because we have some very special presentations and awards for you, commendations. Once again, I'm calling to the stage our very illustrious producer, Linda Morgan from SmoothAhead, joined by Roscoe Owens from the Jazz Zone and the Jammin Foundation, and of course Michael Dolphin, who opened the show very eloquently. I'm going to read this one proclamation and then we will acknowledge the remaining award commendations. Yes, all the whereas. I'm going to try to make it brief. We're only going to do one. We're going to start with Senator Rod Wright from the 25th Senate District. Resolution to Marla Gibbs. Whereas Marla Gibbs is an American television and film actress, singer, as well as a vocalist, who also owned a famous jazz club called Marla's Memory Lane from 1981 to 1999. And whereas Marla Gibbs is best remembered for playing Isabel Sanford and Sherman Hemsley's sarcastic maid Florence Johnston on The Jeffersons. And whereas Marla Gibbs has also appeared as guest star in several African-American sitcoms, including The Uglies, Martin, Chappelle's Show, and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And whereas Marla Gibbs released a music CD called It's Never Too Late in May of 2006. And whereas the Jammin Foundation and Linda Morgan recognized her contributions of paving the way for others. And whereas jazz gives a powerful voice to the African American experience and is born of a diverse society, uniting people across the divides of race, region, and national boundaries. It also draws from life's experiences and evokes human emotion. Now, therefore, be it resolved by Senator Roderick Wright on this 26th day of May 2011 that Marla Gibbs be commended for her remarkable talent and dedication to the art of jazz and extended sincere best wishes for continued success in the future. Roderick Wright, Senator, 25th District. Marla, congratulations. We also have one from the Assembly, State of California, from Isidore Hall III, Assembly Member of the 52nd District, presented to Marla Gibbs for recognition of outstanding achievements and contributions to the world of jazz music. This one also comes from the California Legislature and the Assembly. Certificate of Recognition to Marla Gibbs, actress. On behalf of myself and the constituents of the 48th Assembly District, I congratulate you on your outstanding contribution to the entertainment industry. Best wishes on all future endeavors. Mike Davis, 48th District. And this one is a little lengthy, but we're going to acknowledge it from our great friend Maxine Waters, Member of Congress, 35th Congressional District. This is a certificate of special recognition presented to Marla Gibbs. And finally, from the city of Los Angeles, it is Councilman Bernard C. Parks from the 8th District. He is congratulating Marla on this occasion during Living Legends PAVIOR Night for your many achievements in dedication to the world of jazz. City of Los Angeles, Bernard Parks, council member of the 8th District. Okay, we're going to do a photo op here.
I have one more whereas. Whereas Marla will be on Monique's show on the 31st of this month. Whereas I want you all to look because I'm starting all over again. And whereas Marla will be on the House of Pain for Tyler Perry, I don't have the date, but it's coming up soon. So keep looking. Thank you. Whereas you all need to watch that.
Please be advised, Jacques Lejour is reminding me they are giving parking citations outside because you cannot park there until after 8 o'clock. So there's, unless you pay, you have to feed the meter. And unfortunately, they are enforcing that very strictly. Yeah, read the signs, be vigilant, and be aware. The lot in the back is just $2, so that's a viable option for you. $2.50 all night. All right, it's time to move on to our second honoree. I saw the lady just a minute ago. She has a canopy of white hair. Now, who might I be talking about? Okay. She's going to be performing a little later tonight in her venue at 8 o'clock. So we have a twin bill to present to you in every sense of the word. I'm going to move on to our next honoree. And I'm going to bring up some speakers who are going to share their sentiments about a very innovative icon in radio when FM was in its infancy. The old days of 105, KBCA. It was a real deal. Jay Rich was not only in sales, but he learned every facet of this business. Advertising, marketing, production. He was chief engineer at KBCA. Attended the Don Martin School of Broadcasting, and so on and on. So many broadcasters and communicators owe a debt of gratitude to this man who paved the way. We're going to learn more about his contributions momentarily, but first I want to bring forth our first speaker, Mr. Lawrence Rice. Please come forward. We call him Pip. He's the pride of Jefferson High School.
I'm up here, pardon me, I'm up here this evening to express and to represent the guys that I hung out with over the years that were part of the audience for Jay. Jay had a particular gift. Jay could reach out through the radio,
Mr. Cotton,
put his arms around you. I mean, it's not easy to articulate through other people's efforts. And what I'm saying is that the musicians that he selected to play sent a message to all of us. And Jay's music, which was so phenomenal, actually mirrored our efforts as young black men here in Los Angeles at the time. So I'd just like to say to Jay, hi ladies, thank you very much. I had some other stories, but I'll make mine brief. There was nothing like coming home from the party, dialing into Mr. Jay Rich here to make the trip a very delightful and a safe trip home. So again, I'd like to say thank you from me, thank you for the guys that I hung out with, and countless other people that had the privilege of hearing your genius.
Thank you. Those warm remarks were brought to you by Lawrence Rice. Is Rod McGrew in the house? Here he is. You know, around the time that Jay started, late 50s, early 60s, there were people like Sleepy Stein, Chuck Niles, Rick Holmes, Tolly Strode, Tommy B, Bill Hancock, and another gentleman that I'm about to introduce. He is no stranger to the airways. He had his own following as well, and he was right there in the beginning. Good, warm round of applause for Mr. Rod McGrew.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. It's truly an honor to be here to acknowledge my mentor and the individual, believe it or not, who was really responsible for me being in radio. And before I really give him his props, I just want to thank the Jammin Foundation for this great evening of acknowledging living legends, the operative word here being living. And nothing thrills me more than to see Jay and Marla and George get their due while they're living. And you've heard from Marla. Definitely kept the flame alive with Henry Lane. And George Bohanon, what can we say? George, one of the more prolific trombonists ever to play the jazz instrument, and he put his indelible imprint on it. We'll always love and remember you, George. Great work. Jay Rich. I probably know more stories about Jay than anyone because, as the MC said, back in the day when Jay was blazing the trail and paving the way, so this honor is most appropriate, I was a teenager, and Jay was dating my aunt at the time. And he would visit our home on a regular basis, and of the children, I was the only one that would relate to him. My siblings, you know, they were just intimidated. But I loved jazz even as a child. When I was whistling opus de jazz when I was 6 or 7 years old. So my love for it was always there. And I heard this guy on the radio, Jammin Jay Rich, and I was just really excited and interested at the way in which he presented himself and his music. And at the various times that he would come over, the other kids would be in the back and they'd be jamming to R&B. Not that I didn't, it just, my first love was jazz. And I would always go up to the living room and sit down and talk to Jay. And he was very warm and receptive, and here I am, this teenager, and I'm talking to him about jazz and different musicians and who I liked and who was very interesting. And long story short, one day, after many, many discussions, Jay said to me, "You know, Rod, if you ever think you want to get into radio, let me know." And I said, "I will." And at the time that he said it, it stayed with me. I didn't really process it, you know, teenager, sowing my oats and being young and really trying to figure out where I was going. But what he said to me resonated and stayed in my consciousness. And little did he know, some 6 years later, that on his birthday, he's born in August, another Leo, I called him on the phone. I said, "Jay," and we hadn't talked in years. I said, "Jay, I know your birthday's coming up, and I'd love to come by and see you on your birthday." And he said, "Come on, you're welcome. I'd be happy to have you sit in and, you know, enjoy the show." So I go by, Jay's on the air, he's about to read a commercial. He turns around, the tape deck was in the back, so he had to turn around and put in the tape deck, and the copy board was right there on top of the console. So when he turned around to put the tape deck in, I put my radio telephone license there, and I put my broadcast diploma there. Jay turns around and, you know, he's not really paying attention. He's thinking he's getting ready to read the copy for his commercial. And he stops and he reads it and he realizes at that moment what I had accomplished. And his first response to me was, "Why didn't you tell me?" And I said, "The whole idea was to surprise you and let you know once I was done." He said, "This is great. Are you any good?" I said, "I think so." And he said, "Okay, why don't you come by tomorrow afternoon? I've got Sunday afternoon. Just you can come out and hang out, and you can start, you know, mentoring and getting a feel for radio and what it's all about, and let's see where you go." So I came by the next day, Sunday afternoon, Jay's programming, last hour, he just says to me out of the blue, "You have the next 20 minutes." And because he said it so suddenly, I didn't have time to think about it. I didn't have time to get nervous or panic or anything. So when I look at it, or when I listen to it today, you know, it's funny in terms of those first 20 minutes. But it really wasn't that bad. So the next week, Jay says to me, "Make sure you come by and hang out, and I'll give you the last hour." But of course, I had a week to think about it. So by the time that day came, it took me 20 minutes to get it together before I could finish the show, you know, evenly. And that was the planting of the seed. So those of you who are familiar with my career at KBCA, at KGO, at KJLH, Jay Rich fertilized that seed. He served as my mentor. He was not only a very wise man, but he was a very gifted and talented man. He really understood the essence of jazz and the importance of that voice in our community and what it was designed to do, and he blazed the trail. And individuals like myself and many others have followed me happened as a direct result of Jay Rich's leadership and his contribution. And as the host said, Jay was not just a DJ. He was a first-class engineer, which meant that not only was it important for him to be on the air, but it was important for him to be there as chief engineer because he kept us on the air. And without Jay, it wasn't possible. And whenever we improved the transmitter or did any upgrades or had any problems, Jay was on the spot, whether it was 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So my point here is that he set an example of an incredible work ethic, a deep sense of respect for professionalism, and he really required of himself the best, and anyone that worked with him, he required the best. So he gave me a foundation and blazed a trail that I'm happy to say enabled me to achieve far greater goals and objectives than I ever aspired to. And I thank him to this day from the bottom of my heart as my big brother, as my mentor, as my dear friend, as a part of my family. And one of the really special things he did, because I was on course as a math major, English minor, to become a CPA, he saved me. I will be forever grateful to Jay Rich. And again, thank you all for being here tonight and honoring such a great individual. I see a lot of familiar faces that I haven't seen in many, many years. So it's just warm to see your presence and feel your energy and know that you're here to acknowledge 3 incredible people. And for me in particular, this great man, Jammin J. Rich. Yay.
Let's hear it once again for Rod McGrew. As Rod just shared with you some very heartwarming stories, I have just a few anecdotes of my own. In 1974, I was a young student at Don Tracy's LA School of Broadcasting on Morrison Avenue, and Jay was my instructor. And we learned about potentiometers, which are pots. Those are the dials that adjust the volume on the console. We learned about programming and how do you take a razor blade and splice some tape, how to write commercial copy, and how to program creatively, which Jay did like no other. In fact, that's one of his hallmark achievements. He would play a Mahalia Jackson and come right behind it with John Coltrane and Love Supreme. Always in a spiritual vein, drawing from his righteous path. And this is what he did. He was innovative. They say it's all in the mix, and he certainly embodied that concept. Jay wrote copy like no one else. One of his longtime accounts was Chambers Shine Parlor for many years. And the commercial started out like this. Hey you, in that hip Nehru suit and those worn-over shoes. Haven't you ever heard of Chambers Shine Parlor? And it was a choppy delivery that became a style that was unique unto itself. He would say that Chambers Shine Parlor would dye those handbags and shoes to match my lady's wardrobe. Well, if he had a morning air shift, he would say, "A top of the morning to you, mommy." A band was not a band for an orchestra, it was an aggregation. And Art Blakey was the heavyweight champion on drums. Lou Rawls, hailing from Chicago, was looping Lou Rawls. And Nancy Wilson was the fancy Miss Nancy. I could go on, but I'm not, because we have the real McCoy sitting right over here. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge his lovely wife, Amy. Amy is here. Jay also has devoted a large amount of his time mentoring young youth, teaching them about broadcasting, but more importantly about life, how to be a man. These are things that are significant that we all have to do. We all have to step up and contribute to our community. Jay has done that. He's also done it as the manager of Roscoe Chicken and Waffles. For many, many years, at all 5 locations, he did the hiring, he did the training, he did the marketing plan, the business plan, at all 5 locations. And he worked tirelessly in that effort. He also had his own company called the Rich Foundation. And what he did with that was he mentored young and small retailers, minority-owned businesses, and taught them how to boost their sales. Because aside from being a great communicator and broadcaster, first and foremost, Jay was and continues to be a businessman. He was involved with the Black Business Association. And so he really knew the ins and outs of commerce in this community. He knew how to go out and sell an account. And he knew how to nurture that account to fruition. At this time, we're going to have a musical tribute to Jay by the Jacques Lejour Jammin Foundation Ensemble, and they will be joined by Miss Rita Edmonds. So that's going to be something that we can all behold. Once again, the Jammin Foundation Ensemble, led by Jacques Lejour, the guitarist, with Miss Rita Edmonds.
Good evening, everyone. Before I start, I just wanted to say one thing. Jay is the very first DJ who ever played any Rita Edmonds CD. Right here, this one right here. And because of that, I always refer to you as my radio hero. Thank you, Jay. Hide your heart from sight, lock your dreams at night. This could happen to you. Don't count stars or you might stumble. Someone drops a sign and down you tumble. Keep your eyes on spring. Run when church bells ring. It could happen to you. All I did was wonder how your heart would be, and it happened to me. back from side. Lock your dreams at night. It could happen to you. Don't count stars or you might stumble. Someone drop a sigh and down you tumble. Keep your eyes on spring. Run when church bells ring. It could happen to you. All I ever did was wonder how your arms would be. And it happened. Oh, it happened. It
Thank you so much. Miss Rita Edmonds. The Jacques Lejour Trio under the banner of the Jammin Foundation, the ensemble like no other. At this particular time, we would like to present Jay with some certificates and commendations. So please come forward if you would. Jay Rich. There's a lot of love in the house tonight for all of our honorees. And up out of your chairs. Okay, I'd like to start out with something from the world stage. I saw Sequoia here and Margot Thomas. Are they here? Yes. On the world stage? Yes, we are. Please come forward and join me as I present this Lifetime Achievement Award from the world stage. The world stage, as you know, is right down the street, just across the street, co-founded by Kamal Daoud and the great masterful Billy Higgins. The world stage is the home of the human metronome, Billy Higgins. 7 days a week there's something going on there. Workshops, spoken word, drum lessons, ensemble playing, everything happening at the stage. It's struggling right now and it certainly can use your support. So please be kind and generous. Come through the door, drop something in the coffers. It's been around for 21 years, but it is in need of your help and your support. Okay, I'm joined here by members of the board of the world stage, namely Sequoia Morsira and Margot Thomas. How about a hand for them? Sequoia is the executive director of the world stage, and Margot's on the board and has been handling a lot of the PR and outreach and doing a very admirable job. Trevor Ware was not here tonight, and you all know Trevor, very fine bassist. He is the president of the board of directors. How about a hand for Trevor Ware? This is the World Stage Lifetime Achievement Award presented to Jay Rich for 50 years of distinction as an innovative radio host, producer, sales manager, and jazz preservationist, presented on this day, May 26, 2011, by the World Stage Board of Directors. Mr. Kicks, the Jammin' Jay Rich, also known as Rosinas on the board jack. I'm going way back into the grab bag for that one. Thank you, ladies. Okay, this one again is from the 25th Senate District, from Roderick Wright, State Senator. Resolution to Jay Rich. Whereas Jay Rich was born in Marla, Texas in 1934 and raised in Dallas. Whereas Jay Rich was one of the founding fathers of jazz radio in Los Angeles. Whereas Jay has worked in radio for over 30 years, starting at KBCA in 1960. Whereas Jay's first music promotion was an after-hours jazz concert called Jazz at the Metro, which featured superstars such as Lou Rawls, the Jazz Crusaders, and the Gerald Wilson Big Band. And whereas Jay Rich currently serves on the board of directors at the World Stage and is a member of the third year, he was treasurer for the third year, and whereas the Jammin Foundation and Linda Morgan recognize his contributions of paving the way for others, and whereas jazz gives a powerful voice to the African American experience and is born of a diverse society, uniting people across the divides of race, region, and national boundaries, and draws from life's experiences and evokes human emotion. Now, therefore, be it resolved by Senator Roderick D. Wright on this 26th day of May 2011 that Jay Rich be commended for his remarkable talent and dedication to the art of jazz, and extended sincere best wishes for continued success in the future. Congratulations. And then we have other recognition. This one from Jan Perry and from Bernard Parks. Congratulations on the occasion of being Living Legend PAVIOR Night. For your many achievements and dedication to the world of jazz, the City of Los Angeles is pleased to commend you on this most outstanding accomplishment. The contributions that you have made to the community are truly valuable and will be cherished by many. Best wishes for continued success. Bernard Parks from the 8th District and Jan Perry from the 9th. This one is from Maxine Waters, Member of Congress from the 35th District. And Roscoe's handing me one from the California State Assembly to Jay Rich Radio Executive. You can almost put a different title on each one of these scrolls because he has done so much and covered so many facets of this industry. This one is from Mike Davis, member of the Assembly, 48th District. Now we have one from Isidore Hall III, Assembly member of the 52nd District, presented to Jay Rich in recognition of outstanding achievements and contributions to the world of jazz. I think we did Maxine already. Yes. Is that everybody? All right, and now I am humbled and honored and privileged to be able to hand the microphone to Jay Rich.
Good evening. Thank you so very kindly. Oh, I was around. I was there when before you started the club. Oh yeah. In fact, you at the time. Wait a minute now. I'm gonna go back to you since you did that. Remember a place called Pasla? The Performing Arts Society of Los Angeles? We were in there together. Under Van Tower Whitfield? Yeah. We go way back on.
I need somebody to really run the club.
Well, Herman had already taken all of that because I had already been working under him. But no, but that club was, at that time, this side of Los Angeles belonged to jazz, belonged to us. It was clubs from Western Avenue to Los Angeles Boulevard. You had jazz. You go out on Friday night, and you left your house at 8 o'clock. You know you weren't coming back until Sunday afternoon. After you got through with the nightclubs, I had me after hour joint. Theater. See 250 people, and there would be wall-to-wall buses. And we would be there from 2 until 6 in the morning. And then at 6 o'clock in the morning, a man named John T. McClain had a place called the It Club. We were right across the street. We started all over the people. So anyway, this is indeed an honor to be respected, to be given this kind of an award. This young man right here, I had the pleasure of being his instructor after he already had a college degree, and I'm trying to instruct him. But it was a situation where working with young people was something that was outstanding. The young man that came up here earlier, my son, my nephew, my brother, Mr. Rod McGrew. At the time, it was going through a segment in life, and every little young man who took any kind of wrong step, they put him on that list called juvenile delinquent. And I said, no, there's got to be something better that we can do than this. And I took to him, and he took to me. And it was something that was outstanding. And I watched a lot of young men following his footsteps because he went all the way. He dropped all of the outside activity and he said, I'm here with you. And I watched him grow into the general sales manager of a radio station that is very popular in this town, the first black-owned radio station in this city, called radio station KJLH, which stood at that time for John Lamar Hill. Now it stands for kindness, joy, love, and happiness. We were there when it changed over from John Lamar Hill to kindness, joy, love, and happiness. Because John said, if it ain't black, you can't buy it. And I happened to be the general sales manager of that radio station at the time. Not to take up too much time, but to say thank you so very quickly. Thank you to my family, thank you to my children, my grandchildren. I'm sitting around here, and my friends, to all of you, thank you so very, very kindly. This evening I will never forget. This family gave me my first real major advertiser called Dolphins of Hollywood.
Jay always refers to broadcasting live in the big front window at Vernon and Central. All right, we're going to move on to those who would like to make remarks about our third and final recipient, last but certainly not least. He's a consummate trombonist. I call it Boss Bone because his tone is very radiant. It is robust. He has honed his craft as a studio musician. He's comfortable in any setting, be it concert hall, festival around the world. He's on the faculty at UCLA, a member of their very distinguished Jazz Studies department, under the direction of Kenny Burrell. And he hails from the Motor City, like some of the others. Paul Chambers, Kenny Burrell, Yusef Lateef, Pepper Adams, Doug Watkins. The names go on and on. And so he is in fast company, but he too is Tommy Flanagan, that's right. Barry Harris, that's right, Hank Jones. So, I mean, it's staggering, the list of people that have come out of Detroit. He also, being comfortable in any genre, was on staff at Motown Records, accompanying the likes of Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross, Marvin Gaye, and on and on. So I'm talking about none other than Mr. George Bohanon. And George is a class act. He does embody dignity, very humble, very gracious, and he's not one to toot his own horn, so we're going to do it for him. Please welcome our first speaker, Ghassan Bohanon. He's going to take it and run with it. How are you, sir?
Well, it's not much for me that I can say about Pops. He goes by a lot of names, but I call him Pops, you know. You all know his professional accolades, play with everybody. Very much still in demand, and it just goes to show for his professionalism and the way he handles himself. You know, nobody ever has a bad word to say about him, which is rare. You know, he's just an all-around good person. It feels good for him to be getting this, and I know I'm repetitive with this, but it feels good for him to be getting this honor when he can actually receive it. You know, it's too many times these kind of things happen when people are already gone, or you know, it feels good for him to get this honor now because he deserves it. It's a long time coming, you know. Aside from all of the work he's done professionally, one of his big passions was always giving back. He's mentored a lot of youth, taught a lot of youth, and responsible for some of the best trombonists that have come out of LA, you know, some of the best musicians that have come out of LA. So this is very much a very good thing for him. And more than that, he's just been a great father and a great father figure for myself and all my brothers and sisters, some of who are here. And you know, it's just, I couldn't ask for a better man to show me how to be a man, you know. And, you know, on behalf of everybody that knows Pops in all kind of capacities, congratulations, you deserve it, and much more.
Thank you. It's all of the family. Again, I want to mention some of the people that have been so instrumental in keeping this music alive, banging the drum for jazz. I mentioned one at the top of the show, that's Chet Hanley. He's the host of Jazz in the Modern Era, 9 big years. He's got hundreds of hours of programming in the can. The beauty of it all is that he owns the rights, so when he walks, it walks with him. The shows emanate live from the campus of Cal State Dominguez. He's on hiatus for the summer, but he'll be back in the fall with more great programming. Chet Hanley. I also see Bobby Zeno.
Robin Eubanks, Steve Turek, all kind of cats, and they'll name names, and then you'll say, well, how about George Bohanon? Everybody go, woo! Woo! You want to mess with that, baby. You don't want to mess with that. You do not want to fool with that. And you can name some names, but when you come to George Bohanon, these guys are masters themselves. You know, Andre, I just talked to Andre Hayward. He said he wanted to try to do a conference call, but he says that he is so thankful to you for your sound and just everything that you've been doing for him that you don't even know you're doing for him. He's in Houston, so he really couldn't talk, but he just wants to thank you. And we want to thank you because George is not only a musician, he's taught us that you can live a decent life, raise a family, have a wife, do things, and play music and still play this music, you know. You don't have to be the stereotype. And I think that was very important. When I thought about leaving this city a few years back, I thought about it to myself. I said, well, because I really didn't have any family here at first. I said, well, you know what? I do have family here, because if anything really goes, I knew for a fact that if it really went all the way down, I was going over there on 60, over there on, you know, I knew where I was going, so I was cool, you know, I knew if it really hit, I knew where it was on the corner, and I was cool, so I just want to, you know, and we've done things all over the country. We did a summer camp together in Atlanta, Georgia, and, you know, it's just been a great experience with he and his wife. I want to make sure I mention her, because aside every good man is a good woman, not necessarily behind, aside along, going along and making sure things roll smooth, you know. So when he's on the road, we want to check on her too, make sure she's cool and everything's good for her, you know. It's very important. So we just want to say we love you, George, and I love you, and you know, music is one thing, but who you are is more important to me. So thank you.
Okay, I have this first resolution, once again, from Rod Wright. And we're going to bring George to the stage. Okay.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Wow, this is really great. You know, you really don't know what people think about you. I'm gonna be all right. I'm really emotional. That's part of the program. But yeah, but it's been a great ride. I came here first in 1962. Yeah, see there? I came out here with Chico Hamilton. Actually, Chico came to Detroit, heard me playing in a little place called Sonny Wilson Swamp. It was a swamp. But he said, you want to go? Charles Lloyd heard me and wanted to bring me out to California. I said, yeah, California sounds great. So I joined the band, which I stayed for a couple of years, and it was a wonderful experience traveling all throughout the world. But one of the things that bothered me was every time we offered work, we wanted to come to California. I wanted to go to Detroit or New York. I mean, opposite ends. And so we broke up, and as fate would have it, I guess, Chico moved to New York, I moved to Los Angeles. Figured that one out. But it was a great move. And I came out here, as was mentioned, I grew up with Motown in Detroit, which was a lot of fun seeing people grow up like Diana Ross and Mary Wells and the Marlas, me and Marvin Gaye, my friend. We used to just have a great time, just good people. Never knowing that we were doing timeless music. We were just doing what we did at the time, you know. A great way to grow up. So, and then as I got here to LA, one of the things I recognized was there's so much young talent out here that just needed to be cultivated. So I began going to the schools, Locke and Fremont at the time, and it was really some great young players there that just needed some attention, not necessarily lessons. They might need somebody to talk to, you know, a little guidance. And you know, I wish some of them were here tonight, because these are the guys that really make my life feel fulfilled, because they're carrying the torch. We got, you know, young Reggie Young, who was over at Locke High School, who for the last probably 15 years has been part of Earth, Wind and Fire horn section, traveling the world, making money, enjoying his life. Isaac Smith, who is just probably the best trombone player I've ever heard in my life. You know, certainly just growing and doing what they love to do. And I was able to bring them through the Clayton Hamilton Band, which I've been with for about 27 years. So, you know, you just kind of see that they're ready, and when I tell John, hey man, he can handle it, I don't have to talk about it anymore. So that's really great. And then my wife has been such a support, and my family, that's really what it's all about. We work for Marla Gibbs. We booked the club. We booked, Memory Lane brought some wonderful people in, Jimmy Smith, Horace Silver, and all those kinds of people. We had a magic show for the kids. We had a Sunday brunch. We had the comedians. I mean, we had everything going on. It was beautiful. And, you know, we need more community support. I mean, we don't have any. This is one block. This block, if we cannot support one block in California with our culture and our music, it's kind of sad, really. So I just wanted to give you a little rundown. You know, we started the Cultural Link, which is a mentorship program, my wife and I, and we brought lots of young musicians. We helped them. We bought shoes for some who needed shoes. We were family for them who needed to be. And also, some of them they all brought a lot to us. You know, that's the thing about teaching and mentoring, because you learn, you grow. I have a wonderful family. My children are here. My youngest son and my oldest son there. My daughter's over here. My oldest daughter is here and there. We have 7 children between us, my wife and I. And she has done a marvelous job of raising a family. And they've learned to appreciate the music. They've learned to understand what it is to be good human beings. And that is very important. And we know that we're very proud of them, because they're entrepreneurs. Some of them are just workers. Some are entrepreneurs, but they all are very, very genuine people. And they have a lot of respect. And that's really important, that we respect each other. I mean, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever you're about, just respect it. We're not all doing the same thing. Isn't that great? But we're not. It would be very boring. So, but I'm just glad for tonight because to be recognized is really, really important. I'm going to do this whether you recognize me or not. This is what I do. But I really appreciate the recognition. J. Rich, that was beautiful. I do remember coming out and listening to you daily and nightly in the AM and the PM. You know, but it's wonderful. And Marla has just been Marla has put her entire life into this business just to try to make things better for her people. And she is to be commended. So I'm going to stop right here while I'm behind, but thank you so much for coming out and recognizing these people, because these are the people that are really making it possible for others to follow. Thank you very much. Let them know that I will be jamming, so stick around. Yeah, I'm going to play a couple of tunes before I leave. I couldn't dare be with it. Joplin sure in the group. A nice hand for these wonderful musicians. So we'll play a couple of tunes. Thank you.
Thank you. George Bohanon, but please stay here, George. We have a resolution for you from Rod Wright. And if I could have my glasses, I could see. Thank you. That's right. Okay, resolution for George Bohanon. Whereas George Bohanon was born in Detroit, Michigan and began playing trombone at the age of 8. And whereas the National Association of Recording Arts and Sciences awarded George Bohanon the Most Valuable Player Award. Everybody okay?
As long as it's something and not someone.
Are we okay? All right.
Hey, sit down.
Okay, we have the situation under control. That's right. George Bohanon's genius approach to trombone playing creates a lyrical quality that rates high in tone, color, and dynamics. And whereas George Bohanon was also a member of the Chico Hamilton Quintet with Charles Lloyd and Gabor Szabo in the early 1960s. I think Al Stinson was playing bass in that group. And whereas Motown Records hired George as their first trombonist, a position that he held for some 7 years. Whereas the Jammin Foundation and Linda Morgan recognized his contributions of paving the way for others. And whereas jazz gives a wonderful voice to the African American experience and is born of a diverse society uniting people across the divides of race, region, and national boundaries, and draws life from experience and human emotion. Now therefore be it resolved by Senator Roderick D. Wright on this 26th day of May 2011 that George Bohanon be recognized for his remarkable talent and dedication to the art of jazz, and extended sincere best wishes for continued success in the future. Roderick Wright. Congratulations. And there are others, again from the California Assembly, presented to George Bohanon in recognition of outstanding achievements and contributions to the world of music. You're welcome. And from Bernard Parks, Council member of the 8th District, and Jan Perry, President pro tempore, congratulations on this day and this evening of Living Jazz Legends PAVIOR Night for your achievements to the dedication of the world of jazz. The City of Los Angeles is pleased to commend you. You're so deserving. Very gracious. How about a hand for George Bohanon?
Never wear it.
Okay, once again, I'd like to bring forward to the stage the driving force behind this entire evening. You've met her before, and if you've been following her career, just in the last couple of years, she has had a tremendous impact on this music and in this community. She has a vision, and she continues to bring forward the very best in this business. She is also in that same category. We're talking about the producer of this event from SmoothAhead Jazz, Miss Linda Morgan. I'm going to turn it all over to her and she'll take it from here. Linda.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has come out this evening to honor and pay homage to George Bohanon, Miss Marla Gibbg, and to Mr. J. Rich. When I started this series last year, my mission was to educate, entertain, and inform not my living legends, because I'm honoring and celebrating them while they're here. But the information and the education is for their children, their grandchildren, and their great-grandchildren to get involved in their legacy, because they have built a legacy, and that is what you will be carrying on for them. And the thing that I want to say to the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, we're on the internet. We're on all the social media sites. We're on all the Google sites, the Yahoo, you name it. Please Google, search, see what's out there on your living legend, parent, grandparent, and great-grandparent. Because what I'm finding in this business is that their legacies are being stolen before our eyes. It's being stolen before our eyes intellectually. When I say intellectually, I'm talking about on the internet. So please just do for me a favor and help me in protecting their legacy. I took on the title and the role of a jazz legacy preservationist for this very reason. It's a lot of work. I'm up to the task, but I need the help of the grandkids, the children, and everyone else in the community to get involved. And with that, it helps keep the legacy of jazz going. Because as you will see, when you start Googling and doing searches on the internet, what you think is there is not there. And we need to put the information out there for future generations. It's very hard to acknowledge and honor our legends when you put their information out there and there's nothing to search for them on the internet. It's not that they haven't built a legacy, it's just that we have not put the information into cyber, I call it cyber hell, because what goes in there stays in there. So if the information that's in there is not correct, then that's what is being said about them. So we have to be the keepers, the gatekeepers of the jazz community. I would love for somebody to do what I'm doing in gospel, blues, R&B, everything, hip hop. I'm only staying in jazz. So the type of work that I'm doing, though, needs to be done in every genre of music that we are a part of. So I wish everyone take up the mantle and just search and help put information in the internet about the living legends that I feature every month. Wikipedia page, anything related to the internet search. These cards I circulate about 5,000 or 6,000 a month, just so that the information is out there. People will Google them, they will research on them. I do a Google alert, just so that I know how many people are searching for them once I start doing the promotion. You will be amazed how many people search and start looking for the information on the living legends. So I would appreciate it. That's my only I don't even know the word for it. Bequest. Yes. The domain names is one of the things that is very, very prominent. If you don't own your own domain name, somebody else owns it. And it might be me. Seriously. Because I buy the domain names for the legends if they have not purchased it. I'll purchase it and transfer it to their families. Just so that nobody else will be able to do that. Is no longer with us. I own her domain name, so if there's anybody here that knows the family of Miss Abby Lincoln, please get in contact with me because I would love to relinquish her name to the family. Because it's very important that her music is played and heard. And I got a call from a gentleman in Iowa. Wanted to buy her domain name from me and put his music up. I said, absolutely not, and I'm glad you called the right person. Because there is no way that I would sell her domain to you for your gain. So that's the only thing I would love to leave with you. Please help in the protecting of the domain names of your living legends. Thank you.
Thank you.